Welcome back to my top 200 board games of 2021. We are on numbers 150 to 141. And just like you would have to say for every like 50 or so games, you have to say, these are on another level, right? So many people say that. I mean, and they are, in fact, they're in the top 150 now, so I guess that's good. Let me talk about number 150. I've had it in my list for 4 years now. It jumps into my top 100, then falls way out. Then jumps back into my top 100, then falls way out. I don't know why. It's Fool's Gold. Fool's Gold is a very simple, easy game to play where you're mining from, I think it's like 6 different areas. How you get access to those areas is you're rolling the dice, and whatever numbers pop up, those are the ones you have access to. You can add dice to pass to open it up for you, but you're trying to put your men out there. It's basically kind of bidding, a little auction style, and then you're trying to get the best cards from each one of these mountains. And there's some set collection with these gems that come, 6 different types of gems or 5 different gems from each mountain. And as you're doing this, it forces you to move around and get gold from all 5 or 6, I think it's 5 spots. Okay? Now, why should you do that? Because at the end of the game, whichever gold you have the most of, that's Fool's Gold. It goes away. So your highest scoring deck goes away. And everyone seems to forget that. They got so much money from this one. Ooh, yeah, blue. I got tons of gold from blue. Well, you should never go to blue ever again then. You should work on getting a balance of all the gold nuggets from each area. And I try to do a balance like that. And you're paying workers to grab more gold coins. There's so much going on each round. It just goes 3 easy rounds. It's so easy. It's so much fun. I remember I played this at Arizona Gaming Con and had a blast with it. Bought it immediately. I see this game for super cheap still today. When it first debuted on my list, it was number 94. Then it jumped out to 128. Then last year, it jumped back into my top 100 at 93. And now this year, it drops 57 spots to 150. I don't know. Now, like I said, I don't look at the list from one to the other, but I guess it's just whatever I'm feeling that year. I'm like, yeah, I love Fool's Gold. We still play. We may have only played Fool's Gold once this year. And I think I played it way more last year, which is probably why it made it back into my top 100. But this game, I mean, statistically, it's going to be back in my top 100 again for 2022, I guess. In the 90s again. I just keep flirting and bringing it back. Just because everyone, it's super fun. No one has analysis paralysis when playing it, even as simple a game as this, because my gaming group is weird. But at the same time, the games go by quick and you have so much fun. I just have nothing but fun when playing Fool's Gold, and I like the look of it too. Everything about this game is great. So again, another game that others don't really care for that I love. Number 149, let's talk about this one. It's in its sophomore season here. It is Pioneers by Queen Games. Love Queen Games. Bought this game on an Amazon flash sale. Absolutely thought it was great. And it's a game where you're all controlling a stagecoach and you're basically taking actions and hopefully building rails and getting them to connect. You're getting the longest connection for extra points. You're also getting going to certain areas to get the token off that one to take advantage of whatever special worker that is. There's a lot going on with this, and it is so much fun. Like I said, for 20 bucks on Amazon, it was a steal. Last year, it was a brand new game. It made it to 134. It only went down 15 spots. And again, you could say the sophomore slump hurt it a little bit, but at the same time what's really hurting it, I've been looking high and low for the Queenies. Some guy's selling each individual Queenie for 15 bucks each. I'm not going to pay 45 bucks when I paid for the game, paid 20 bucks for the game. I'm not paying 45 bucks for all 3 of those Queenies. I offered 20 bucks, but I think that's what I'd pay, maybe 30, I guess. I'd pay a little bit more just because in my experience, every Queenie improves on a Queen game. And I hate that they come separately. I understand why through Kickstarters and stuff. Queen Games thought it would be available in their store when it opened up their new store this year. It was not. My heart is broken. And I can't find them anywhere for cheap. I'd really love to get the Queenies for Pioneers because I think that would really add flavor to this game. I love the game as is. There's a lot of variety, replayability on, what tokens are coming out and what spots there. And there's a lot of different strategies that you can use to win. I know someone said, oh, this is the easiest strategy. This is the obvious strategy to win. Yeah, I tried that and I lost. I lost his obvious strategy to win. But Pioneers to me is so much fun. Again, another Queen Games hit. You're going to see a lot of Queen games on this list, and as we go even higher, even more, because I love Queen games. All right, so that's 149 Pioneers. 148 has been in my collection for 5 stinking years. Absolutely love it. Very unique theme. I see it right here. Drum roll. Hey, drum roll. Love this game. This is from, is it Artipia Games? I think it is. And they do a great job with this one. It is so much fun. It looks and feels like old school, 1900s, turn of the century, your circus, your old school Barnum and Bailey's when circuses were grand. And you're basically going around the world doing performances. Certain cities require certain acts. And if you get those acts in time and train them well, you'll get extra bonus points in the game. This is a very low scoring game too. But it's worker placement as you're placing your disc around the board, trying to sell tickets to generate money. You need a lot of money in this game. And then you're hiring acts, training those acts, trying to get them better and better, so when performance time comes, you will get some good victory points. And there's just a lot of strategy, because special cards can do certain cards can do different things for you to give you special abilities in the game or lower your cost. I believe there's an expansion. Artipia has them all. There's the Ringmaster expansion, which is there's a drum roll, a bunch of little different promo deck ones, and those are fun just because of the extra variety of performances and acts that you can get, so I'm glad I have those. And then you can get it from their website. You can still get it from their website today, but these circus tent counters they're rolling counters that you can count up and calculate how much you have to pay at the end of the show. And that's very important, because that's the hardest thing to keep numbers on, because you're constantly getting new staff and even crew that you may have to pay to help out. And if you don't balance your money right or sell enough tickets, you won't be able to pay them, and they'll quit and they'll leave. And that's not good. You don't want that happening. So you gotta be paying it. So that's why those little tent counters, circus tent counters, are really cool. I love this game. I bought it for my wife because she loves circuses, and I thought this is something right up her alley. She didn't want to play it, but I love it. I got it for her, but I'm keeping it for myself. It is so much fun. Like I said, the old 1900s, old school, the grand circus, the big tent and everything. It's so colorful. The artwork is incredible. This game, no one talks about, and they should, because it is fun. If you like worker placement and you like this unique theme, honestly, check it out. I think you'll love it. For the first 3 years, this game was in my top 100. 64, 71, and then 67. Then last year, I only got to play it once, and it dropped to 138. Now here it goes down 10 spots, mainly because of all the new games I've gotten in my list. That's mainly probably what happened. Just got pushed down a little bit. But, drum roll's good. My number 147 has always been around this area. It looks like I nailed that. It was 145 the first year on my list, 148 last year. It moves up one spot, but it's always been around this area. It's Vienna. Vienna is another game I see for super cheap, no one ever talks about. It's you're rolling dice and then placing them across the board and then taking those actions in that order. My only complaint is those are the only actions. The actions are always going to be the same. However, the dice you roll or the dice you utilize, your strategies will always be different. It's a double-sided board. For some reason, they have the same exact board, but at night. The artwork's at night. I don't know why they do that. It's a very simple game, but we have a blast playing it. This has never gotten old. Like I said, it's always been around this. I've ranked it around the same, given it the same ranking for all 3 years basically in a row. And that's incredible when you think about it, because I always, when I'm rounding up my top 150, I know Vienna is going to be in it somewhere near the bottom or near the middle, but it's always going to be there. Again, it is kind of simple. It's simple dice placement. This could almost, in a way, it could be a gateway game for people, teaching them dice placement. But I think it definitely deserves the shelf space on my game collection here, because we play this and we have fun, no matter who I'm playing it with. The serious heavy gamer, they love it because there is some strategy involved, getting the highest symbols for each one to grab just those little points. A lot of your points, you're barely grabbing points each round, but it does feel like you're achieving and doing great things. A lot of people are planning, one round for the second round when they can really get bigger points. And I love that. I love that kind of that it invokes that kind of strategy in the players. So Vienna, great game. My number 146 is in its sophomore year here on my list, and the only person that I know that has this in their top 100 is the Game Boy Geek, and I'm so happy he talks about Cinque Terry. Now, he may have pronounced it somehow different, but I can't remember what the name of it is, but I call it Cinque Terry. Either way, this is a pick up and deliver game at its finest. The board looks beautiful. The pieces are awesome. You're rolling dice once at the beginning of the game to set the market, and certain items will be of worth or more value in certain cities than others. But it's not about just delivering all the goods into that one city. Like, oh, this place will pay 6 points because it rolled a 6 for olives, so I'm going to stack up on tons of olives and just sell them olives all day long. Sure. But after a while, when you reach your quota, you can only have a certain quota in each city. You can't sell any more to that city. So it'll burn you out and get good points at the beginning, but you'll eventually lose the game. That's why my nephews can never play this game with me, because they always go for those big, easy points up the front, and then they block themselves out of all these cities, and they can't start fulfilling contracts, which is where the real money is. And there's always a risk, because when you fulfill a contract, you have the option to take another one. But if you don't fulfill it at the end of the game, you'll get negative victory points. And so when it gets toward the end, you're like, oh, can I get that one or not? If you pass it up, then you're going to pass up some, you could have maybe fulfilled that order in time and got it. So you're passing up some big victory points. I love that. A beautiful game. This game really does need a reprint. I was so happy to see Game Boy Geek have this on his top 100. For me, it didn't make it. It fell a little bit. It was 128 when it first came out because it was new to me and I was playing it all the time. And then, went down 18 spots because not getting played as much. But still, very, very entertaining game. Well worth your time if you can get it for cheap, which these days I don't think you can. At number 145, it's about that time to talk about Queen Games here. This game has been in my collection for 5 years now. It's called Thieves. I've explained Thieves a billion times. I'm just going to say, again, Indiana Jones without the Nazis. Basically, you're moving around the board, getting information, collecting help, shovels, hearsay, just so you can dig in one of the sites at the bottom of the board. Now, when you dig, you're probably not going to pull that many tiles from the bag, but thankfully there's a lot of treasure in there. There are some sand tokens. You always take the sand tokens and put them back in the bag. So the more you dig over this game goes 3 rounds, which is each 1 year each. So the more you dig, it's going to be harder to get some of those treasure tokens. However, your knowledge at year 3 is way higher than it was at year 1. So you're actually pulling more tiles from the bag. In the second half of the game, it'll eventually go to where you can now go back into the city and showcase your collection of treasures, a certain amount for each different card there are. And if you do that, you can also gain some victory points. So it becomes 2 ways. You're not just focused on, in round 1, you're gathering a lot of information and digging. You only dig in each site once per year, and you want to. Even if you're only pulling 2 tiles in the bag, just get something from the bag. But some people just spend their first year just studying because they want to get that big one, pretty soon. And that's probably not the best strategy, because digging, regardless, gives you points. In the second year, you're doing that, and then that's when museum visits start popping up, and then you don't maybe have enough for museum visits, but by year 3, when all the sites are getting a little, it's getting a little scary. It's hard to get treasures now. At least now you can turn your attention to showcasing it in all these museums and all these places to get points. And you're still trying to get, better knowledge in the towns of those dig sites. Very thematic, very fun. Every action, it costs 1 week of time. There is no scoring there. It's basically the score track is really just the tracking the year, 52 weeks in the year, and there's 52 spaces on the board. And so whoever's last will always go first. If I was last, I did an action that only cost me 2 weeks, and I was still last, I get to go again. So that one person who did that big move for like 12 weeks, they dug for 12 weeks, got tons of treasure. Well, they may not be going again until like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 turns. And then they get to go again. But I love Thieves. For every year, except for this year, it's been in my top 100. It was number 46, then it was 43, then it was 60, then it was 96. And this year it drops 49 spots. What happened? I only played the game once this year. Once. That is never, I usually bring this game out several times. It just fell through the cracks this year. There's some of that's new games, but then I only played it once now. And so it lost its streak of staying in my top 100. Nothing wrong with that, though. I still love the game. I still enjoy it, and will play it in a heartbeat. I'll play it right now if I want to, dadgummit. But just because I only played it once, I felt like it did need to drop a little bit here. All right, 144 has been in my collection for 4 years. It is Master Builder. Oh, another game that no one talks about that is just so lovely. Now, in Master Builder, there's different phases where one, you could be bidding for contracts, then getting workers, then there's an event that happens that's going to impact at least one, if not more, of your stupid workers. So they can't work today for whatever reason, or money is extremely tight in this game. You can use your workers to get some money and for some events, some, not all. And then you start building. But when you finally build, that's when the big payoff comes. You make tons of money there, and you're building, and you're building basically a 3D house, a 3D castle wall, 3D tower. And as the game goes along, you're building this city. You're seeing the city come to life on the table. It's really awesome. And we have a house rule that you can keep playing, you keep going over rounds until someone doesn't have something to build anymore, because obviously they couldn't score any more points. But it just gives us a little bit closer to trying to build the whole city completely, and no one does. No one does. And I know the artwork's a little trashy on this, but the gameplay is there. This is a seriously great game that I see for just under $10 all the time. And I know people look at it and go, ugh, kind of looks ugly. It is so much fun. And looking at that 3D, those 3D houses and the 3D city come to life at the end, everyone's going to whoop up their camera and take pictures. It happens every time we play this. This game is the lowest it's been on my list before, because it's kind of flirted around my top 100 for the past 3 years. It was 92 when it first came out. Then it dropped right outside the top 100 at 109, jumped back in at 80, because I had so much fun playing it, and this year it dropped 64 spots. Yikes! What's going on? I only played it once this year. Again, these games, to be in my top 100, you need to get played at least more than once, I feel, because I got tons of games here. And if I only play it once, unless it's really good, it's not going to stay in my top 100. So that's why I had to drop it here, but still a wonderful, wonderful game. My number 143 has been in my collection for 3 years now. It is Sultania. And Sultania, you are several different characters, and they have different goals on how it's a tile placing game as you're building your castle, or I don't know what you're building, your home here, maybe your palace, let's say. And each individual player board has different types of goals. Sure, some of them you may share with other players, but there's different ways to score. Someone may score on windows or on shrubbery. Someone else goes on little domes. They score on domes or arches or whatnot. So there's or doors or something. And everyone has different, or palm trees. Everyone has a different way to score, and that's kind of neat because not everyone's going for the same type of tiles. Now, when you grab certain tiles, they come with these gems. These gems can be exchanged for genies, which you can utilize to get little special abilities in the game. Each genie is a different color. There are these great, awesome figures, and you pay the gems, and you can just keep them there and keep paying gems to them to do their special ability. You can also steal a genie from someone else too, but it is awesome. These abilities can be switching out tiles or doing something to help, build your palace even greater than the other person's. I don't really like tile placing games, and I absolutely adore this game. It is so much fun. Another game, great components, great look, beautiful artwork, and no one talks about it. And the gameplay is there. The strategy is there too, because you're always looking, what's best for me? How can I place this? Where should I place this now? I better go ahead and get this genie so I can wipe the slate clean here and get 4 more tiles, because none of these are good. I need one of these too. So much fun. The first year was on my list. It was 112. Then it went to 146. Now it jumps up 3 little spots, which is not bad for it. Great little game. Definitely overlooked, but underrated. Check it out, Sultania. No, 142 has been in my collection since I've been doing this list. This is the 6th year on the list, and it has gone it experienced some ups and downs. In fact, this is also the first time it is not my top 100 because I did not, for the first time in 6 years, did not play the game, and that is Descent. Whew. The dungeon crawl to end all dungeon crawls, right? I have a complete set of all the characters, all the expansions of the 2nd edition, and we have played through it. It took us 5 years. Seriously, my nephews were laughing because I think they started this game when they were 12, 11, and 9 or something, and now they're 18 or 17, 16 and 14 now. And it is crazy to think, and their little brother joined us the last year, I think, to play, because he got old enough to play too. But we'd been playing since they were little kids, and they were loving it. And I was going kind of easier on them. I kind of got harder on them as we went on, but it was so much fun. It was a great tradition. We broke tradition. I didn't bring Descent to the beach this year, and I kind of regret that because I think they wanted to play something like that. Should have brought a dungeon crawl. But yeah, it's been an amazing journey going through all those adventures. I will do them again, but not soon. Not soon. When this game first debuted on my list, I was head over heels for it. I made it number 6 on my list, and then it started going down. I went to 12, to 32, to 40, to 74. It stayed on the list, but now it dropped 68 spots because it didn't get played. Didn't get played at all. So I knew it was going to drop off the top 100 because a lot of my dungeon crawls, when I stop playing them, they're going to drop, right? They have to drop because I'm not playing it anymore. So that's why it dropped down. And then 141 is another dungeon crawl that I haven't played in 2 years. It's been on my list for 6 years as well. Space Hulk. I don't know why Space Hulk's ranked over Descent, but well, probably because my desire to play Space Hulk is higher. You can also put Lost World here, but I've played that game a couple of times and it's good. If I was to play Space Hulk again, I'd probably add Lost World at the end of that and play that with it. Even though they are technically 2 different games, I'll put them both here on the list. But Space Hulk is Aliens, the board game, done right. It's Warhammer 40K, but board game style. I love it to death. Lost Patrol is fun. And I haven't even cracked open the sprues for Lost Patrol, but for Space Hulk, so beautiful. And I still to this day have so many great memories. It took us how many years? 4 years, I think, to make it through it all. We only played a couple of games a year. I didn't really sit down and just play it all the way through, even though I'd want to. This is, out of all the dungeon crawls I want to play, well, I kind of want to play Mice and Mystics again, but I don't know. I'd be tempted to sit down and play Space Hulk all day long because I just have so much fun. Whether you're playing the Aliens or the Marines. You can play 3 players too. We split up the Marines into 2 different, a lot of them split the Marines up in 2 different, groups a lot of the times. But man, some of the stories have just been epic. Some of the wins and losses have been just incredible. This game was hovering around my top 10 for its first 4 years when I was playing. It was number 7, then it went to 11, then it went to 10, then it went to 11 again. And then I stopped playing it and it dropped down to 75, and then last year, and then this year it dropped, even though it didn't get played. That's kind of wild. It stayed in my top 100. That's weird. I just realized that. And now it drops, rightfully so, because it hadn't been played in 2 years now. It dropped 66 spots and somehow beats Descent. Maybe I should have flipped those 2. Nope, screw it. I'm going with it. I'm calling it Space Hulk, my number 141. All right, folks. Come back next time. I'll review 10 more games from my top 200. See you later.